Good afternoon and welcome back to our AP Physics 1 review sessions. My name is Joshua Beck. I'm coming to you from Clayton, North Carolina. I hope you guys have enjoyed the last, 5.5 weeks or so of review. Hopefully you feel a little bit better prepared for the actual physics. Remember that if you missed one of our lessons, you can certainly go back and watch them on replay. Those will be available at least up until exam time, so be sure to check out the playlist if there's any topics that you might have missed. This week, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. We're going to be trying to prep you for the actual logistics of the exam. So I'm going to go through a few of the exam submission methods. You may have heard about these in the past. There's a lot of resources that have been out there or that are out there currently. So I just want to kind of walk you through some of these submission methods, and give you kind of some pros and cons. And we're going to actually use the College Board demo page as a way to do a practice submission with one of our warm-up problems today. Then once we get through all that, I will then give you a full-length 25-minute sample problem to work on as well. And then tomorrow we'll discuss all the answers to these problems. Typically, I open myself up on Twitter for you to ask questions. In this particular case, I don't want you to ask me questions about the exam problems that we look at today. I will go over all those tomorrow. And then if you still have questions about those, you can ask me after tomorrow's lesson. But if you do have questions about the submission methods or things like that, you can certainly reach out to me on Twitter as you have been in the past. So let's jump right into it. There are really three options for how you can submit your work. So when you get your question on exam day, you will have to answer one question and then submit your work. And then at a set time, the second question will become available to you, and then you will have to submit that work separately. You're not submitting everything all at once. It'll be one question, one submission, then a second question with your next submission. So when you submit your work, you really have three different ways. The first option is really the one that I would recommend to everybody, unless there's a specific reason that you cannot do this. If you absolutely cannot get access to a computer and you have to do everything on your phone, then one of the other options may be your best bet, but I would highly, highly, highly recommend doing this copy and paste method. This has really the fewest moving parts out of all the methods. So the idea here is you're going to open up one window on exam day. It'll give you your information. You'll log in. It'll give you your test question once the timer actually starts, or once the exam time actually starts. The recommendation here is that you actually open a second window with some sort of a document editor. Microsoft Word works great. Google Doc works great. You can use Notes, any sort of application where you can just type strict text. Okay, so you'll open one window with the actual exam information, and then you'll open your second window where you can actually type your answers. Now, within this, it's really important that you don't include images. I know in a lot of cases on your computer, you have the ability to notate, you have the ability to draw stylus, and you can mark up on your Word document. Don't do that. You can't submit any images whatsoever. It needs to be all text. Okay, keep in mind these exams are written this year. They've been modified. Don't feel like you are going to be in trouble if you can't draw things. These exams are designed for you to use text. So please consider using a word processor where you can just type your answers. Once you do this, or once you have this Word document open, make sure that you have your AP ID and initials listed on the top of them. I recommend to my students to have 2 documents set up before they even go into the exam. So that way they already have their initials and everything entered onto that. You'll get your AP ID with your exam ticket, which we'll talk about briefly. Once you are finished answering your question, this method, it's real simple. You just highlight all of your work, copy, you go to the submission window, you paste, you can scroll through and confirm that everything looks the way you want it to look. You can't type in the submission window. You can only copy from your document and then paste, but you can confirm everything looks good, then hit submit and you're done. There's very few moving pieces. You can see everything at once. You just go ahead and submit. The second option is actually really similar, but it just adds an additional step. So rather than copying from your document, you're still going to have your 2 windows open. You're still going to have the exam window open, and then you'll have your Microsoft Word or Google Doc or Notes open, and you'll be typing all of your work. Again, still no pictures, no images. Don't draw anything into this document. It needs to be all text. Now from here, rather than just copying and pasting, you would actually be saving that file, and then you'd go back to your submission window and you would browse for that file and then upload it. In my opinion, this adds an additional step where something could go wrong with saving it or finding it, things like that. And those 5 minutes to submit are going to start to tick away. If you've got the ability to use a word processor side by side while you're working on your exam, then I would highly recommend just using option 1, just to copy and paste. Just like this, except instead of saving it and then browsing for it, you just highlight it, copy, and paste. Okay. The third option is actually going to be one that a lot of students are tempted to go for, and you're welcome to do this. You're welcome to use this method, but it's not my recommendation. There's too many things that could go wrong with this method. A lot of students have been submitting samples to Greg and I through photos, which is great, but keep in mind, there's more to submitting this way than just taking a picture on your phone. Remember, if you're using your phone or your tablet and you're looking at the test questions, then that's the application you're going to have open on your device. So if you intend to use this method, make sure that you use this demo, make sure that you practice navigating away from the testing app to your camera app, taking a picture, making sure that you can see everything clearly, making sure that everything is in focus, that it's good contrast, that nothing's chopped off. Then make sure that you save that photo. And then can you go back to the actual testing application? From there, can you then navigate through your phone storage and then find the picture and then get it uploaded? Now, it's certainly feasible, something you could certainly do, but there's just a lot of moving pieces. I don't like the idea of navigating away from something and then going back to it, losing track of how much time I have. What if I can't find it? What if my picture is in the wrong orientation? What if I can't see it clearly and I have to take the picture again and you start scrambling? There's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of things that can go wrong. Now, I know that up until this point, like in physics, you've been writing stuff all the time, so it may feel comfortable. But again, I can't emphasize this enough. These questions are designed for you to answer them with just text. So if you have the ability to clean, keep it neat, the readers will be able to read it. It'll keep it organized, and it'll have way less moving pieces. Now, if you are going to attach a photo response, keep in mind you need to have your API ID and initials and a page number on the top of each page. These pictures also need to be taken vertically. You're only allowed to take one page with each photo. So if your solution continues onto multiple pages, be aware that you're going to need to upload multiple individual photos for that one question. Oh, there was a second page that I didn't upload that photo, things like that. Again, the photo thing can be done. It just has a lot of moving pieces. Okay. My recommendation is if you are planning to use this, make sure you try this method on the actual College Board demo page at some point. Make sure you know what it's going to be like in that time crunch to navigate away from the testing app, take your picture, check, make sure everything's good, your multiple pictures, navigate back, get everything in, make sure you have your name and the page number on each of your pages, et cetera, et cetera. All right. There's more to it than just, oh, I took a picture with my phone and now I just uploaded on Twitter to ask Mr. Beck or Mr. Jacobs a question. So make sure you take the necessary time to practice this. My recommendation, again, stick with method 1. Copy and paste is the cleanest, it's the neatest, there's the fewest moving parts. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. These exams are designed for you to enter them in text, okay? Now, once you finish doing your work, that's when you'll actually make the decision of how you want to attach your work. Are you going to attach a text file, attach a photo, or just paste your work into the text box that's there? Again, you can't type into that text box, but you can paste directly there. All right. So what I want you to do is take about 30 seconds here and make up your mind. Hopefully you know which method you were intending to utilize, but if not, maybe this is the first time you've heard of them, or maybe I've just swayed your decision. So if you're going to try a text type response, then go ahead and navigate away from YouTube here. If you're on a computer, just go ahead and open up a new window with a word processor in it. It could be a Google Doc, it could be a Word document, it could be the Notes application, whatever you need. If you're planning to try today, prep ready, make pen or dark pencil ready to go. All right. So here's how this is going to work. I want you to actually practice this submission method. We are going to use a short 5-minute warm-up problem within the College Board's demo page. Why only 5 minutes? Well, because that demo is designed with a 5-minute working timer. So in just a second, I'm going to give you a web address here. I want you to type this into a second web browser so that you can access this demo page, or just into a new tab. But when you enter it, please don't click enter or go, because once you do, the timer will start. Go ahead and open up a new tab. or a new browser, you can sort of scale these side by side so you can see them both. And you can enter in this web address. If you can only view one at a time, I'll read out the web address for you. It's going to be apstudents.org/exam demo. Again, don't hit enter, don't hit go. If you did accidentally hit enter, you did accidentally hit go, you didn't realize it yet because the timer hasn't displayed, but it's actually started a countdown timer for you already. That's not a problem. When I tell everybody to go, you can just refresh the page and it will start over for you. Okay, so I'll give you another 10 or 15 seconds. Make sure you get this typed in. We're just going to use this to practice. Hey, can I view a question? Can I answer a question in that format? And then can I submit it and feel good about how that process worked? Okay, so there'll be a little bit of physics here, but also a little bit of practice for your actual submission method. All right, let's see if we can get everybody synchronized here. All right, you've got your tab with this web address. On the count of 3, go ahead and hit enter or go. That should keep all of us pretty close to synchronized. All right, so we'll go 1, 2, 3, and go. And this should load. You should see something like this, okay? Now, keep in mind, in this particular field right now, this is just a sample, so you don't have to enter in your actual AP ID. Some people are wondering, where do I get this? Well, it's going to be on your exam ticket. You're going to get an exam ticket emailed to you a couple days before the exam. That'll have the actual link to go to the actual test, and it will have your AP ID. Okay, that AP ID is what's going to need to go on the top of all of your pages. So for today, just go ahead and enter in any 8-digit number. Just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then hit continue. All right, we can click the Get Started button here. It's going to bring you to a personal information page. You have to enter in some stuff here today so that we can continue on with the demo. Again, on test day, you'll need to enter in all this information accurately. The suggestion is to have you log into this about 30 minutes before, because there will be more information than just this that you need to enter in. But go ahead and type in, you can just put in a single initial for first name, last name, pick any birthday, month, year, pick any email address. Okay, so go ahead and enter this stuff in. Again, you'll want to do this about 30 minutes before your scheduled exam time to make sure you have time to enter everything. It will be more information than just this. The real site, and that link will come to you with your exam ticket. So make sure you have access to your email address that's registered with College Board. All right, you can read that little box there. You can check no if you do not want to grant these rights, but you do have to agree to the terms and condition, and then click next. Now at this screen, okay, or if you're on your own browser, you now see a screen that says AP 2020 exam demo. It says your exam will begin soon. You've got this countdown for when your exam will begin. If you log in on test day, okay, everybody's exam is going to start at the same time. So you might finish entering your information and you might have 5 minutes to wait. You might have 10 minutes to wait. Okay, so just kind of clear your head, get yourself prepped, make sure you've got your Word document ready, make sure you've got your AP ID and your initials listed on the top of the pages. Right, you know there's going to be 2 questions, so you can have two Word files ready to go. You can start with the first one, have the second one prepped. Keep in mind that between the questions, once you submit, there's not going to be a big window of time. We're going to kick out that next question to you at a scheduled time as well. Okay. Now, today's practice problem, according to my watch, we got about 2 minutes before the demo will actually let you start your exam. Today's sample problem, you're going to have 5 minutes to work on it. This practice question will actually not be in the exam demo. The exam demo just tells you to write something random and then enter it in. It's just practice for the technique, but I want to include a little bit of physics, put you under pressure. It's just for 5 minutes. So see, oh my gosh, under this time crunch, can I still access all of my physics knowledge? So today's practice problem, I'm actually going to have on the PowerPoint presentation. So if you're listening to this, even though you're on a different tab or in a different window running through the exam demo, make sure you tab back over to the PowerPoint slide. So once I switch to the next slide here, you can actually see the practice question. Now, what you're going to see is a countdown timer. Same thing that you'll see in the exam demo, same thing you'll see on exam day. What I want to make sure make sure is really clear, that countdown timer is the full window of time. That's the deadline. If you don't have anything submitted when that timer hits 0, then you're out of time. That's not your work timer plus 5 minutes at the end. That includes your 5 minutes at the end. Okay, so make sure, I'm going to do the same thing here. Our sample question, I'm just giving you 5 minutes to work on it, and then 5 minutes of upload time. That's to help you troubleshoot if you're having issues. So the timer will say 10 minutes. That doesn't mean it's a 10-minute question. Subtract out that 5 minutes. It means you've got 5 minutes to work, and then we're giving you that 5-minute buffer to make sure you can get everything submitted. Okay. According to my watch, we got about 30 seconds. I know some of your timers might be a little bit off if we weren't quite synchronized. So I'll go ahead and let you jump into it here. Once that timer does reach 0 and it tells you it's time to begin, it'll say your exam begins now and your actual question will pop up. In this case, please switch over to the actual PowerPoint presentation, or not the PowerPoint, the YouTube live here where I've got my PowerPoint, and you'll see the actual question here. All right, I'm not going to read it to you. I'm not going to say anything. This is your practice. This is your question that's going to pop up. I'm going to start the timer now. It says 10 minutes, but that means 5 minutes to work and 5 minutes to submit. Just a reminder, as the timer continues to tick down, you've got until the 5-minute mark to finish answering your question. The timer will continue. You can continue working past that, but keep in mind, anything you do past that 5 minutes, you're Now, as we come up on this 5-minute mark, if you tab back over to your demo screen, you'll see, I think our timer's got a little bit off, but you'll see that once you're inside of 5 minutes, that's going to start to count down in red. That's letting you know your designed exam time is finished. Now, if you're finishing up the last little bit and you want to cut into some of your submission time, that's your risk. Okay, that's your prerogative, but that's definitely a risk. You need to use this time to make sure you can upload. Now, the quickest and easiest upload method is going to be to copy and paste. So you can take the Word document that you just typed everything in, you can highlight it. If you're done, you can copy, go over to the submission screen, click the text box, hit paste, scroll through, make sure it's good, and then submit once you're ready. That won't take very much time at all, which is another plug for utilizing this method. If you're taking the photo, this is going to take the longest time. So make sure, take your paper, make sure that your phone is held up square above it. Make sure you're taking this image vertically. Make sure all of your work fits into that image. If it's a second page, you'll have to take a second photo and upload both photos. Now that you've taken that photo, well, where is it? Where did you save that photo? Did you save it to files? You save it to your camera roll? Did you open this browser within your phone? If so, you need to navigate back to the demo browser so that you can now hit submit. So you can start to search, or not hit submit, you can now go to upload and you can start searching for those photos. Make sure you remember how many photos it was. 1, 2. If you pulled this up on your computer and you just did the work on paper and now you just took a picture with your phone, well, how are you going to get that photo from your phone to your computer? You have to submit from wherever you logged in. So if you're on your computer, you just took a picture with your phone. Great. Now what? This is what we need to practice. How are you going to get that over to your actual submission? You have some options. Maybe you can airdrop it. Maybe you can save it in your Google Drive. Maybe you can email it to yourself. All these things are going to take time. All these things are dependent on multiple factors. You've got about 2.5 minutes left to finish figuring that out. Make sure you get that into the device that you've logged in so that you can actually submit it. Lots of moving pieces with the photo. Those of you that did the copy and paste method, you've been finished. You're sitting around waiting for me to go to the next part of this. You're done. You can take a deep breath, grab a drink of water, right? Eat a granola bar, whatever you need to do to get ready for question 2 on your exam. Those of you taking the photo, possibly still scrambling. Again, the photo method is there, but that's not the preferred method. It's not the recommended method. Too many moving parts, too many things that you have to do, too many things that you have to be careful of. Make sure work out properly. Got less than 2 minutes left. Again, this is a short problem, so it probably fits on one page, but what if it's the long problem? What if your work spilled over into multiple pages? Okay, if you're doing the copy and paste, that's fine. You can copy all of it from your Word document. Just scroll all the way down, copy, paste. You can preview it and make sure it looks good before you hit submit. Whichever method you've done, at this point, you should be submitted. If you are still working, then you're really risking things, okay? You should not be working still at this point, all right? You absolutely need to make sure that you can get everything transferred over. Look, if it's the copy and paste method, you copy, you paste it, and you're reading through it and looking at it and you go, oh, shoot, I should have said this. I need to change that. Oh, I still have 2 minutes. You can go right back to your Word document, make the change. You can clear whatever you've just pasted. You can copy again and then paste with a little update. And then as you're browsing through, you're like, oh, no, that looks good. I'm good. I'm glad I made that change. If you're doing that with a photo, you don't really have that option, right? If you're uploading a document, you don't have that option. So again, copy and paste is my absolute recommendation, unless there's a reason you absolutely cannot type it into a Word document, okay? All right, I think most of your exam timers on the demo have pretty much expired. I think they've gotten off from each other a little bit, but this practice problem, make sure you save it. Save your paper or save the photo or save the document, because I'm going to go over this problem tomorrow, okay? This is what you're looking at when it's time to submit. You've all seen this. You've been using the demo. You should be up to speed with this. This is where you choose which method you're going to use. Am I attaching a file, attaching a photo, or am I pasting into this document? If you need some more time, you can always go back to this demo. There's a lot of information, kind of do's and don'ts. I'd recommend whichever approach you plan to take the time to go back and look at it and make sure that you know all the nuances for that submission, okay? I've tried to summarize it, but I can't guarantee that I've pointed out everything, okay? What I want to do next is give you a full-length practice problem, okay? You can see over on the screen here, I've got a link to this practice problem. So if you're on YouTube, you can click the video info. There should be a link to this Google Drive. You should. If you can't click through that video description, you can type in this web address right there. Okay. Up on the screen, I'm just going to pop up the first page. That way you know that you're looking at the right question. It's not going to scroll through. What you see on this screen is not the full question. That's the first page. There's more to follow. So make sure you go into that Google Drive and pull up this document so that you can actually see the full question. All right. This is going to be a full length. This will be your longer length, your 25-minute question. Okay, on the AP exam, you'll have a 15-minute question with 5 minutes to submit. Then you have a 25-minute question with 5 minutes to submit. So in just a minute here, I'm going to start the timer on this. I'm going to mute my video, mute my audio. Problem. All right, I would recommend using the technique. If you're typing on a computer, then type your answers on a computer. If you're doing the photo upload, then make sure you're writing it on paper and make sure that within that time frame, you're also taking the pictures that you need and making sure that you're able to upload them. We don't have a way to upload them here because we're not running that demo anymore. Okay, but this is good sort of time practice. Now I will let you know, this is a 25-minute question with 5 minutes left. I'll tell you that the time is up and it's time to submit. And then after that time is finished, all I'm going to do is flip to one more slide with some helpful links. So if you finish this question early, feel free to save your work. All right, and then feel free to end the stream. You're not going to be missing anything after this, okay? So you don't need to stay on the line for an extra 15 minutes while other people finish their work just so you can see if I'm going to say anything. I'm going to share some helpful links, but you don't need to stay on the line for those. Once you're finished, you can log off the stream. And then once the stream is done recording live, you can go back and you can just advance to those helpful links if you want them. Or if you're watching this on recording, once back on, giving any more information, so don't feel obligated or pressured to stay on, and don't worry if you're going to miss anything otherwise. Okay, so once again, the question is going to be at that web address there. It's also in a Google Drive link in the video description. What I put on the screen is not the full question, that's just the first page, so you'll know you're looking at the right question. Here it is. Here's your 30 minutes. Remember, this is the 30 minutes to work and submit. I'm starting the timer now. That really means 25 minutes to work, and then the last 5 is your submission time. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute my video, mute my audio. Please don't send questions about this on Twitter. I will be going over these tomorrow. Please feel free to reach out on Twitter with questions about the submission process, and I can certainly do my best to help. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys work in silence. I'll check back in a little bit later, again, just with some helpful hints. So once you finish, if you want to log off, then feel free to do so. It's been a pleasure working with you guys today. I'll see some of you in about 30 minutes. And Just wanted to check in with everybody. The timer is approaching 15 minutes. Remember, that includes your submission time. So really, you should be looking at about 10 minutes left of working time and then saving yourself about 5 minutes just to plan for your submission. For those of you that are discovering that the College Board demo site has timed out, that demo site is only set for a 10-minute clock. That's why we only use that for the 5-minute question. This full 25-minute question doesn't fit into the clock of that AP demo. So just continue working, just use this clock. We're kind of working on this sample problem separate from that demo page so that we can actually utilize the full time frame. All right, we've just hit the 5-minute mark. If you notice on the screen, the timer has switched to red. On your actual exam session, the timer will do the same. It will switch to red. That's to indicate you've got less than 5 minutes remaining until your submission deadline. So that's not 5 more minutes to work. That's 5 minutes left to make sure you submit with your work with whichever method you've decided. So if you're working right now, I know that we're not in the exam demo right now, so you don't have a place to submit this, but if you're on a Word document, you would know, just highlight everything and copy, and then you would paste it. You could practice that if you want, just put it into a new document just to make sure that it transfers over, okay? If you're saving the typed response, then make sure you have all the information necessary at the top, your API ID, which you'll get on your exam ticket, and your initials. Save it, make sure you know where it's being saved. Right on your desktop is a great choice, so it's easy to find. I would have recommended saving it before the exam with just your initials and your API ID. That way it's already saved, and all you have to do is just continue saving it as you work. Every time you type a new line or two, just hit Control S and save it. But now, do you know how to navigate on your computer to find that file, to upload it? If you're taking a picture, there's a real good possibility that you've worked through more than one page. You've probably been writing quickly. Hopefully your handwriting is neat. It'll never be as neat as a typed response, hint, hint. Hopefully your handwriting is neat though. Go ahead and practice taking those images. Before you take the image, make sure that your name, or that your initials rather, your initials are at the top of the page, as well as your API ID. Now that'll be given to you during your exam ticket, but just jot down some numbers to make sure you are aware that that needs to happen. Again, that should happen before you start the exam. I would put that on my blank paper. If it's multiple pages, make sure you can get a good picture of each page. Take one, look at it, make sure that there's good lighting, but that it's not washed out by one big bright spotlight directly over the page. So make sure the room is well lit, but not just with one bright light source that's going to wash everything out. Make sure it's in focus before you snap the picture. Make sure you can see all of your work. Make sure it's vertical. Now, if you have another page, you need to do the same thing with that page. You need to also make sure your initials and your API ID are on that page as well, and then it should be labeled as page 2. That way, in case you upload them in the wrong order, they can get sorted out. So you should have a second photo that you need to take. Once you get that second photo, maybe there's a third, however many photos you need, make sure you know where they're being saved. Make sure that you can navigate there from your web browser. So if you're on your phone or your tablet, we did the AP exam demo on a web browser. That'll be similar to when you log in for your actual test. It'll be a different site, but it'll be a similar process. So make sure that once you go back to that web browser, can you quickly and efficiently then browse and find those photos wherever you saved them? Make sure you're uploading the correct ones. Make sure you're uploading all of them. Again, we're not practicing that upload process because we don't have the exam demo pulled up. If you want to, though, you're welcome to navigate back to that exam demo, wait the 5 minutes for the exam to start, and then on your own time, you can then see, hey, what is it like for me to browse from there and see if you can find the photos that you just took from today's sample problem. Those don't get sent to me, but then you can still practice and make sure, hey, from that interface, can I find the photos? Or from that interface, can I find my saved document if I typed? Okay, or if I typed, copy and paste seems to be the way to go. Make sure you're trying this demo. Make sure you're ironing out any kinks that might come up in this process. Some people have been reaching out to me saying they were having issues pasting, and then they switched browsers and it worked fine. So make sure you're trying this so that on test day, it's not your first go. So that you know, hey, I need to use this browser instead of that browser, or I need to use this method instead of that method. Now keep in mind the countdown timer is under 30 seconds now. If this was the actual exam, you would literally have 25 seconds to make sure you hit submit. Now, if you've gotten your photos and they're uploading, that time to upload might extend beyond. Don't panic. As long as you hit submit before it hits 0, then you're going to be good. It'll take you to the next question. It'll finish uploading them on the back end behind the scenes. So if you haven't hit submit, again, today we're not hitting submit because we don't have the actual testing window, but if you hadn't hit submit yet, then it's too late. That was your time to work and to submit, okay? I'm gonna come back on the screen for you guys. As promised, I'm not gonna go into any more additional details or any helpful hints beyond just I'm gonna give you a list of some important links. These are some things that we've used today. They've been published. You've probably gotten a lot of these links from your teachers, other places like that. So feel free to take a screenshot of this and navigate to any of these useful links if you would find them helpful. I know we ran a little bit long today. Tomorrow, I will keep it to our typical 45 minutes or less. I'll go over answers to the questions. And then on Wednesday, you can tune back in and Greg will give you a full-length practice exam without as much prep work on the front end, but he's going to give you two questions, one 15-minute question, one 25-minute question, just like what you'll see on the exam. So Wednesday. So feel free to tune in for a little bit more practice on Wednesday and tune in tomorrow for solutions. Thanks for hanging with us. Hopefully this helped. The more practice you can put yourself through with the actual submission process, then hopefully the less anxiety you'll have on test day, and you can just focus on the physics and doing as best as you possibly can. Thanks, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.